What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Maverick Raven coming at you with another one, and this is just a follow up to the video I just made about war maybe coming. This has been on Fox, and we're gonna go check it out. All right, let's see what they got to say. And as always, if you like what you're seeing here, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting. All that good stuff, sharing. It all helps. Okay, and let's get to it.
Congressman Michael Waltz, a member of the House Oversight, Armed Services, and Foreign Affairs Committees, as well as the Select Committee on Intelligence. He's also a retired National Guard colonel and Green Beret. Congressman, it's always a pleasure and an honor to talk with you. Thanks.
Damn, bro. He's okay. We get it. He's qualified. Holy shit.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. Good morning.
Your reaction to all of this, and now the fact that the administration is saying we stand with Israel, but we won't be part of any retaliation.
Yeah, Maria, it's no surprise that Biden...
Before he says what he says, remember, I am now completely, totally of the opinion that we should stand with Israel. We stood with the Ukraine, and what's happening in Ukraine is not what's happening in Israel. Let's just say it that. You can't equivocate the two.
Biden is doing more to constrain Israel than he is to constrain Iran at this point. The biggest way that we could help Israel, help our ally, and actually live up to the rhetoric is cut off Iran's cash. We've been saying it for months that they are exporting more oil than they ever have. They're selling 90% of it to China. So Chinese money is flowing into Tehran that is then flowing out to all of...
That's a good point I hadn't considered. I've always said that our biggest adversary, the biggest danger that we have, especially if you're looking at the long game, especially if you're looking at, winning this game, the biggest opponent that the United States has and the world, the free world at large, is China. And China has been buying cheap oil from Iran. That's bad. Not to mention, while we're here doing this mess, China's just sitting pretty, basically getting cheap oil and not getting targeted by us or getting watched by us. So this is a problem, dude. This is a problem that needs to get solved yesterday.
These terrorist proxies, including the Houthis that are cutting off global shipping down in the Red Sea. That's what we have to do. And in terms of aid, we have had 2 aid packages, one with pay for, one without pay-fors, sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk for months. Maria, we've also passed the SHIP Act out of the House that would put secondary sanctions on Chinese buyers of Iranian oil. The shipping companies, the insurance companies, the refineries. If we were serious about helping Israel and we want to get to the long-term problem, you have to cut off the cash in Tehran that they are using to fund all of this. And they're going to keep doing it and launch more drones, build more missiles, and keep...
I am proud of the fact that this guy is from Florida. He's a Florida congressman. This guy is amazing.
Keep pounding our ally until they have a catastrophic hit. We've got to cut off the cash. That's the biggest thing that we could do.
You make
He's right.
Such an important and practical point.
He's right.
I mean, you would think that this is the easiest thing that this White House can do. Just cut off the money to Iran. It doesn't involve a military move. It doesn't involve being part of any retaliation. Right. I mean, just cut off the money. And in fact, this administration is doing the opposite. Okay, so they waived the sanctions renewal. And then on Friday, the president said he did expect Iran to attack Israel sooner rather than later. And he sends this message to Iran. It's not the first time we've heard this same message. Watch.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't. I have one word. Don't.
To any actor, state or non-state, trying to take advantage of this crisis to attack Israel. Don't.
We have just one word. Don't.
Well, obviously.
I am going to do it, okay? I'm going to say it. Obama drew a red line. it was crossed. He didn't do shit about it. Biden drew a red line. Don't, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Ironclad support for Israel. All bullshit. All horse shit. This is why the people liked Donald Trump in office, because he could peacefully, without arms, he could make people do what he wanted. Make other countries do what they wanted. Okay? He was known, it was known and it was feared that if he said I'm gonna destroy the hell out of you, our adversaries knew this motherfucker's crazy enough to just do it. Okay? And that is why people want Donald Trump in office. One of many reasons. But this is bullshit.
They weren't exactly shaking in their boots from the don't warning.
Yeah.
Former Secretary of
They
State
didn't
Mike
care.
Pompeo reacted on X, writing this: "So much for don't. When your Secretary of State declares near moral equivalence between good, our ally Israel, and evil, the Islamic Republic, you get bad guys wreaking destruction, Congressman."
Mm-hmm.
Well, they also know that there's going to be no consequences. So you can
Yes.
have the most powerful, capable military in the world, but if our allies and enemies don't respect or fear you, or respect your capability and will to use it, then it's for naught. And what President Trump knew, and the team around him, Maria, including Mike Pompeo, was that you don't have to use the military. Our most powerful weapon is actually our economy, and the ability. I just don't know how to say it. When you waive sanctions, you allow $10 billion to flow in from Iraq. You have $6 billion for hostages.
Mind you, sanctions that were put there by Trump were removed by Biden very early in Biden's administration. Just saying.
John Kirby goes on the Sunday shows and says, no, President Biden has passed 500 new sanctions, but you don't enforce them, and you allow China to get away with it.
It's like these gun-free zones, ladies and gentlemen. Do you really think... Oh, man, it's hot in here. Do you really think that criminals with bad intentions care that you put up a sign that says gun-free zone? Really? I'm a good guy with a gun, and sometimes I walk into gun-free zones like liquor stores and dispensaries and things like that. Why? Because it's just a sign. I don't care. And at the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen for Rio is somebody comes up with a gun that's bad, that's trying to rob said dispensary or said, liquor store or whatever. And then what ends up happening? If I have no gun, now I might get shot. Maybe somebody else will get shot. But what stops a bad guy with a gun? Yes, it's cliche. But what stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Whether it's a police officer or whether it's a citizen like that gangster-ass old man in that Texas church.
China is ultimately the big winner here because not only are they getting cheap oil, our military is once again exhausting itself in the Middle East. Those ships and missiles should be in the Pacific, not the Middle East.
It's like this guy read my mind. I didn't, articulate it just like that, but it's like this guy read my mind. Dude, China is the #1 threat, and we're wasting all of this energy, all of these resources. We're wasting them all right now by basically trying to make Iran, scared of us. When are you going to do something about it? Because they don't believe you're going to do anything about it, Biden. They don't believe you're going to do a thing about it.
And so
point.
China's sitting back fat and happy.
Yeah, that's a great point about the Middle East versus the Pacific. All right, let's talk about what you can do as an elected official. The House reconvening to address funding for Israel and Ukraine today. I spoke with the Speaker of the House yesterday. Says that Mike Johnson said he wants to pass a package this week after the drone and missile attack. On Sunday Morning Futures, here's what Speaker Mike Johnson said. Watch.
Way back in October, we passed our Israel support package. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk ever since. The House Republicans and the Republican Party understand the necessity of standing with Israel. We're going to try again this week.
The former president, President Trump, has talked about the possibility of turning aid for Ukraine into a loan. Is that what you're considering?
Yes. You know, I had a great visit with him at Mar-a-Lago on Friday. When you talk about aid to Ukraine, he's introduced the loan lease concept, which is a really important one. Repo Act, which is seizing the assets of corrupt Russian oligarchs to help pay for this resistance. I think these are ideas that I think can get consensus. We'll put something together and send it to the Senate and get these obligations completed.
So, Congressman,
Here's something that is gonna shock my leftist haters, my leftist friends that love to hate watch me for some reason. Here's the thing. You guys call us cultish. You guys say that we're members of a cult, whatever. I'm always talking badly about Donald Trump's COVID vaccine rollout. Always talking bad about that. I don't believe in the vaccine. I don't think the vaccine was necessary. It was a very minor thing. But whatever. Despite that, whatever. If I was a part of a cult, I wouldn't say anything bad about him at all. Then he said the things that he said about abortion, which I also don't agree with. I think that abortion in any way other than to save the life of the mother is wrong. You don't fix you don't fix a wrong with a wrong. You don't kill an innocent baby just because of, inconvenience or even tragedy. I'm sorry. I don't think so. There's adoption. There's a million people that would want to adopt right this second. I'm one of them, And now President Donald Trump, went on to support Speaker Johnson. Speaker Johnson, I had high hopes for him, dude, and he has disappointed me thoroughly disappointed me. At this point, he's voting with the Democrats. He might as well be a Democrat. So Donald Trump's support of him irks me. It bothers me. He needs to stop. And I don't know if he's saying the abortion things because he really believes that. He probably really believes it, which that's his prerogative. I'm against that. That's like a small strike against him, in my opinion. And he's backing up Speaker Johnson. I don't know if he's doing that to be political or if he really just likes the guy. That to me is another minor strike against him. So these are all things that we notice, you guys. So it's not that we're in a cult. It's just that we like what the man does. It just that's all it is.
I want to get your thoughts on how this would play out. I know there's a loan idea, seizing sovereign Russian assets, lifting the moratorium on LNG exports.
Right.
But there's still a fight underway about why you are going back to the drawing board now. You already passed a standalone aid bill to Israel. Here's Rand Paul and what he says about this whole exercise right now, the senator from Kentucky. Watch.
What I would say to Speaker Johnson is hold your ground, show some cojones, show some intestinal fortitude, for goodness sakes. You've already passed aid to Israel. Tell Chuck Schumer when he's ready to take it up, and it's going to be paid for.
So, Congressman, what does all of this look like? Tell us your reaction and whether or not you're going to see alternatives to what we're talking about, including a loan. Trump says, send money to Ukraine, fine, but make it a loan. Or do you want to seize sovereign Russian assets? That was another part of that repo act.
You could do it.
The Biden administration needs to lift that moratorium on LNG export projects so that there is not a worry about oil and gas situations in America. Your thoughts?
There are options here. There are options.
Well, Maria, I would say D, all of the above. I certainly agree with Senator Paul that we've already passed not one but two aid packages. The problem is Chuck Schumer is afraid of his left. He's afraid of the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, progressive left. So it's easy for him to just.
And it's not just Schumer. Schumer's a coward. He's a ignorant pissant prick. Okay. He talks all about, how we need to let in all these people, all these illegal immigrants, blah, blah. and then he goes on to his mansions and you know, with the high walls and all that, so he doesn't have to worry about them. But he is a pissant prick. But there are so many options to this that could work here.
Point back at the House. We can't play that game. He could pass that tomorrow, along with the SHIP Act that would dry up Iran's cash by putting sanctions on Chinese buyers. And look, we cannot, and I don't see anything moving without border, Maria. This isn't an either or, but it is a matter of priorities, and we're hearing that loud and clear from our constituents that we have to secure our border. Joe Biden created this mess through executive orders and eliminating Trump's executive orders. And I pray that Speaker Johnson, in his phone call with Biden, said, you put him back in if you want to see aid. Number one. Number two, let's make Russia pay for it. That's with the Repo Act. Number three, Russia is flush with cash with the high price of oil. Why? Yeah. Because Biden is constricting our oil and gas. So their war machine is...
Exactly, bro. Exactly. The next time that one of your friends, moderate, leftist, what conservative, that they say, "Oh, what power does Joe Biden have as president? What power does a president really have to control the price of fuel?" Play this clip or memorize it, tattoo it on your arm, do whatever you got to do. But make sure you remember this, okay? Russia has gotten fat off of this war because war pays the bills in a lot of countries, okay? It stimulates the economy, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. There are options here. There are options. You just need to have the testicles to take them. And fuck what the Hamas, the pro-Hamas crowd wants. Sorry, not sorry, actually.
Cranking away, yet we are constraining our own gas. We should flood the world with cheap, clean American oil and gas, drive down the price of oil. Now you get a 2-for-1. You're drying up Iran's war machine and Russia's war machine. So this is about policy as much as it is just signing another blank check.
Yeah.
And
I feel like a damn clapping seal, but I gotta tell you, this guy's right, bro. He's just right. He's just right. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I moved to Central Florida from Miami just to avoid the expenses that come with living in a huge metropolitan area. That, and it's kind of hard to live when there's 20 million people on top of you, because they're running out of real estate down there. That's just the facts. Now, I come to Central Florida, and dude, 7 years later, we're in this trash because of a Democrat president, you know?
Finally, Maria, I want to introduce an amendment that says until Europe meets its 2% defense commitments, all 31 NATO nations, we're done with aid going forward. They have to pay their fair share. We can't.
He's saying things that I have been wanting, and just, dude, if not, bust out of NATO, bro. That was a world, you know, that was a thing that worked in the past. There's history behind it. That doesn't mean we need to keep it.
Ask the American people to dig deeper in their wallets when European politicians are doling out social programs like Germany and Spain and Italy, especially. That's a good deal for Europe, a bad deal for the American taxpayer.
Okay, so real
this
quick,
is about policy, not just blank checks.
Are you saying that you are a no vote if a package comes to you that includes Ukraine aid along with Israel aid?
Ooh.
I'm saying you have to have all of those other pieces in place, Maria. No more blank checks to Joe Biden's failed strategy. He has backed us into a quagmire and a stalemate over in Europe because of his bad policies.
Wow. Congressman, it's good.
It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question, and homeboy's being a politician about it. I don't like that. And that is a tough question. We've given so much money to Ukraine, but Israel desperately needs our help. They're fighting something we can't even imagine. We can't even comprehend. But damn, I don't know. I don't want any more money going to the Ukraine. I didn't want any money going to Ukraine in the first place. I feel bad for them, but it's not our war, and we're just using Ukraine to later on, you know, get some sort of foothold there, and they're not going to give us a foothold. And if they do, who cares? It was an expensive one that we couldn't afford. And now we're going to get more money? We're going to give them more money? Come on now, guys. Come on. Well, that's the video, you guys. As always, I'm going to put the link down there so you guys can see it yourselves. You guys, if you subscribe, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please share, like, comment, you know, do all that good stuff, all that good social media stuff. If you haven't, you know, if you don't want to, I thank you just for hanging out with me. If you're here hate watching me, I thank you for hanging out with me too, man. Y'all stay safe and stay based.